What's up, guys? Welcome back to another episode of Influence Me. Today, I'm super excited. Hoy tengo una invitada super especial. With us today, we got so cute balloons in the house today. ¿Cómo estás? Bien nerviosa.
Bien nerviosa, como te estaba diciendo. I was super nervous, but I'm ready.
Quiero platicar contigo because you, like a lot of entrepreneurs, estás viviendo tu sueño, se puede decir. You know, you're working, you have your own business, and I think te están llegando muchas oportunidades que tú no te esperaste in the beginning of your career.
Yes.
And I wanted to get to know a little bit more about you. I mean, we worked together in the past.
Yeah.
Pero casi nunca tenemos tiempo de platicar y de conocer and stuff like that. So I wanted to get to know you, and I wanted the audience to get to know your story. So welcome.
Thank you.
So primero quiero saber de dónde eres, de dónde naciste. I know that me and you kind of have some sort of connection, pero platícame de dónde eres, de dónde naciste.
So I was born in Orange County. I am 31 years old. I am married. I have no kids yet. I've been married for almost 10 years. This year's going to be 10 years. And then I decided to pursue my career in like late November of 2020.
Okay.
And then I feel like my balloon business kind of took off like in March of 2021 is when I fully started like doing like professional events other than for like family and friends.
Right.
And then I think it was like March 7th of 2021 when I saw like after that day my business took off. I mean, I met Karen and Johnny online, and I was hired to do Karen's birthday. And so then Johnny kind of found out about it, and he was like, hey, I want you to help me propose to Karen. So that for me was like, okay, this is something that's going to help my business a lot. You know, it's going to help me go to another level because, as you know, they're influencers with a big following. And so after I did their event, my business took off. It was basically like a 2-in-1. I did Karen's birthday, and then Johnny proposed to her as a surprise. And I think my business was very small. Like I had a very small following when I first started. It was like only like 200 followers. And within like a week to a month, I was like at 500 followers.
Damn.
And then I went up to like 1,000. And then that's when my business really was like, it took off. Like, ya no paré. Like I had to like go all in. Like I had to quickly like invest and
make decisions.
Make big decisions. Yeah, there was like basically no going back. And that's when I was like, okay, this is like a legit business that I can, you know, make some good money off of. Because it got to the point where I really quickly started making more money doing the balloons than doing my corporate office job that I was at the time.
Yeah, what were you working at before? What were you doing before?
I was working for a company where we did like processing parking citations.
Okay.
For different cities. So like we had contracts with like Anaheim, Garden Grove, like.
So you give tickets?
No, but the people that got
I can park my car somewhere.
The street sweeping tickets that they give out and stuff like that. That's where I used to work at. It was a customer service at a call center.
Do you have a hookup para que la gente que text, you know, when they park their car outside?
I used to, but not anymore. No, I left that job. It only took me like a year being in business with the balloons for me to determine like, okay, this is getting really busy. Like I have to make a decision. And luckily, my husband supported me and he was like, go for it. Like if this is something you want to do, then just go for it. And so I feel like it happened so fast. Like I saw the amount of potential and growth so fast after doing the event for Karen and Johnny that I was like, oh my God, like, you know, we got a car really fast. And then my husband was like, okay, I'll help you. We'll invest. We'll get you a car. But once we get this, there's no going back.
Yeah.
You know, like, el carro no se va a pagar solo. Like, la deuda no se va a pagar sola.
Yeah.
But I quickly started seeing my investment, and I haven't stopped. It was like, like I said, in mid-March of 2021, and here we are now.
Wow. Well, I'm super proud of you because I feel that I really would like to know and pick your brain in terms of like the entrepreneurship, because it's really tough to go from a corporate business to starting your own business. And like you're saying, te pasó bien rápido that you just had to make those quick decisions.
Yeah.
And that takes a lot of, what do you call it? Like risk. you know, to do. I know you mentioned you don't have kids, but at the end of the day, I feel that a lot of people are secure with their job. You know, a lot of people depend on their paycheck and depend on their income that they're already making. So for you to be like, you know what, fuck it, I'm just gonna jump and follow this business and trust my gut, like that takes like a lot of
It's a lot of risk. Honestly, it was really scary because I was like I guess I was like in my comfort zone, but at the same time, I really liked doing balloons and like, I had a lot of creativity and I mean, I still do, but there's so much that I wanted to do, but I was scared because of that reason. I'm like, oh my God, what if it starts slowing down?
Yeah.
Or what if, balloons die out? I mean, there's so many people doing it nowadays, and there's room for everyone. Like even till now, there's so many people doing it, but there's work for everybody.
Right,
The demand is so high. I feel like the balloon industry is so underrated because I feel like people just think it's easy.
Yeah.
Like, oh, it's just blowing balloons. Like, how hard can it be?
Yeah.
But there's a lot that goes into it.
Yeah.
It's like when you start off, like being a small business, it's not just like, oh, blowing balloons. It's like you have to be like the customer service. You have to respond to people. You have to do pickups. You have to do a lot, like inventory. You're like in charge of everything. You have to do your own promotion, your own content creator. It's like you're like one in a lot, like you do a lot.
And how were you growing up? Like, because again, the attitude that you have, which is like determined, focused, disciplined, that I'm assuming that comes from somewhere. Did you learn that from any family members, school? Like, where did you get that type of education from?
It has a lot to do with my family. Like, I feel like my dad has been like a good role model. Like, he's always been a hard worker. He has his own business. So that kind of like was like pushed me, like, okay, if my dad has his own business and he's so successful, why can't I, And it was hard though, because my dad, he, like every other, Hispanic immigrant parent, came to the US. He expected us to like be doctors and, have like these amazing careers. But, I just felt like, I want to do something for myself that I like, And so he's always set a good example. Even when I was thinking of starting my business, he was always like, hey, it's not easy. Like having your own business is nice, but it's hard. It's a lot of work and you're going to have to work hard, but it's todo se puede, like, and then I feel like to them, it was kind of like, oh, like really like balloons, like,
yeah, that's what I was going to ask. Like what
ganar,
yeah, what was their reaction when you started, pursuing
like at
this?
first I feel like my family at first thought it was like a hobby. Like, oh, it's like a hobby, your friends and family hire you. But then after, I started doing like my like working with like influencers and stuff that I started to see the growth, because honestly it comes a lot with when you work with an influencer. And I want to touch base on this because I feel like a lot of people have this misunderstanding or this conception that like influencers feel entitled and influencers just want stuff for free. Like they're all about like, oh, todo quieren gratis. But it really helps out a business. Like if you're trying to get your business to grow, it's good to collaborate with influencers. I've done it in the past and I've gotten a lot of good outcome from it, because it's not always just like, you don't always just have to see it as like, oh, they just want stuff for free. You have to see it as like the bigger picture. Like they're powerful because people who support them will support you.
Exactly.
Like I'm the type of business owner, every time somebody books me, I always like to engage, like, how did you find me? Where did you hear from us? Were you referred from us? And a lot of the times people will be like, oh, I found you through Karen and Johnny. I've worked with a good amount of influencers that you've had here.
Yeah.
I've worked with Luda and Ashley. So sometimes when I ask people are like, oh, I saw you on their YouTube, or I saw that they posted you. And sometimes because they are such big fans of them, they will support whatever they
because they know they're getting the best. They're not gonna just get anyone.
Yeah. And I touch back based on the whole influencers wanting stuff for free, or that mentality, like, because I see it all the time. I see a lot of other balloon businesses that are like, oh, shout outs don't pay our bills, like exposure doesn't pay our bills. But I just feel like everybody obviously runs their business differently, but they don't see the bigger picture. It's like, to me, it's an investment.
Yeah.
And like I said, the influencers that I've worked with, they come back and they will actually pay me for my services
Yeah.
because they like the work. And I think that's really awesome,
Yeah,
because they could easily go with someone else that will do it for free and
yeah,
move
exactly.
on
Yeah.
to the next.
Yeah, and that's what I've always told a lot of business owners. They'll mention on the podcast, or they'll comment on the podcast, or they'll DM me and they'll be like, "What can I do to get my name out there?" But they have to understand. A lot of businesses have to understand. It's just depending on one, how quickly you want to grow, and then how patient are you.
Yeah.
You have to test your patience, because of course there's going to be times where an influencer tags you and you are going to get this type of response where you're going to get a lot of engagement and you're going to get a lot of business. But there's also influencers that will tag you and it's not that type of engagement that you're expecting.
Yeah,
And that comes with the risk. And like you're saying, it's an investment. Sometimes you invest in something and it doesn't come through. Sometimes you invest and it's for a long term. I've always told them that, because I have seen post of like what you're saying, which is like, shout out's not going to pay the bills.
Yeah.
But you also have to think about it in terms of how are you going about it. Me, for instance, I've always told everyone, I'm super transparent, that I shoot the majority of the influencers, I shoot them for free. Thank God now, like you're saying, they appreciate your work and now they start paying you. They don't want to just take advantage of you. Not that take advantage, but they don't want to just continue to just do for free, because you build that relationship as well. And that's our job as a business owner, as a vendor, to build those relationships. We can just go do the event for free, tag us, here's your service, and that's it. But like you're saying, if we engage with them, if we help them, if we extend that extra effort, then it's gonna pay off at the end of the day.
It's all positivity. Yeah, and I just feel like people have that like misunderstanding, or like this thought of like, oh, they just want it for free.
Yeah.
I see the bigger picture, and I feel like I've always been the type of person that I'm just like, okay, I'm gonna go for it and hope for the best. And if this time doesn't work out, if I don't get anything, I know that I'll be blessed with something else. And it always happens where I get blessed with something bigger and better. And I've been surprised. Like there's been times, I'm not gonna lie, where I'm like, okay, I feel like I'm not gonna get anything out of it, and then they'll come back and they'll want to work with me. You know?
Yeah. Talk to me a little bit about the creative side of balloons. It's a super big industry, especially when TikTok and COVID and all that mashed up, like everyone's had to stay indoors and everyone had to create their businesses and just try to find ways to, a lot of people were getting fired. So talk to me a little bit about the creative. Were you always into balloons? How did you actually start creating that?
I've always been into balloons. I've always been like that person who on a birthday would go to Party City and gift balloons, like, the number balloons and stuff. And then I'm going to talk about kind of how I learned balloons. So I used to follow this girl. Her name is Jasmine. She started offering classes. Her company name is Oh Honey Balloons.
Okay.
So I learned how to do balloons with her. So I decided to take the initiative to take a class with her. At first, when I first mentioned it to my husband, of course, he was like, balloons, like, no. So I took it up on myself. I'm like, you know what? I'm going to invest in myself. I'm going to take this class. I'm not going to tell anyone. I'm just going to go do the class. And when I do the class, I'm just going to tell my husband I did it. And that's exactly what I did. So I started, I took the initiative then. And then I started seeing the potential in the business, and I really liked it. Once I took the class, I was like, okay, I really like this. Like, there's a lot of possibilities. I have a lot of nieces and nephews. So at the time when I took the class too, I was like, this will be good because it'll benefit for like our family parties, our family events. Like I could do, decorations here and there. And then that's how I started. I started just trying to do creative stuff for free for my family, my nieces and nephews. And then eventually empezó like the referrals. Like
how long was it when you first initially started doing that as like a hobby, and when you started actually charging for something like that?
So I took the class in mid-October of 2020.
Okay, damn.
And
so
then,
recently.
Yeah, in 2020.
Shit.
And then in like November, I started doing for events for like my nieces and nephews and family. And then I started getting friends supporting me. I just decided to create an Instagram page. And then my friends and family started supporting. I've had my husband's family hire me and support me. My family has hired me and supported me. And then I just kept, I was like, I'm just going to make a TikTok. I made a TikTok, and por más feito que mi trabajo estaba al principio, I was like, I'm going to record it. And now I look back and I like laugh at myself. I'm like, oh my God, I thought I was a bad bee creating the baddest like balloon garlands. Like yo en el momento, I thought it was like, oh my God, this is badass. And now I'm just like, I've grown so much that at first I started recording everything, and I'm like, I'm just going to put it up there. And then I think that's how I came across Karen on TikTok. I think she started looking for someone to decorate for her party. And I was like, oh my God, like, se reían de me because my family and stuff, they're like, ¿Quién va a ver tus TikToks? Like, what is this? Like, at the beginning. And that's how I kept pushing myself. I'm like, no, I want to continue to do my videos, por más good or bad, I'm just going to keep doing it.
Was it hard? Was it hard to have that strong mindset? Because I know you say it like in a joking way that your family would kind of tease you about it, but deep down, did you kind of also doubt yourself because people around you were kind of like saying like, what the hell? Like, I
kind of doubted myself a little bit, but then I felt like I gained a lot of confidence after doing that event. I got a lot of good positive feedback. Like everybody wanted that setup that I did. It was like, I remember it was a flower wall with the marquee numbers and just like the rose gold pretty colors that are in that girls like. After that, that's when like everybody wanted that. And then after that event, that's when I grew. I grew a lot. And then my mind and my creativity started growing even more, because when I got the support from my husband, he was kind of like, okay, we're all in. Like, what do you want to invest in? I'm going to help you buy everything. And we started we invested a lot of money fast. Like, I'm telling you, we invested money in like backdrops, the car. He got me a commercial. I had to get a commercial van.
Oh, damn.
Yeah. And that's when he was like, okay, there's no going back. Like, you have to push through. You can do this. And I felt like it was a lot of it. My success has to do with him, because I feel like he's like my backbone. He supports me in everything, and he believes in me. And I feel like at the time, like no matter how big or small I thought I was, he was like, okay, like I see that you like this, you give your all to it, and I'm going to support you. And he's been like a big help. And I feel like that's why it kind of pushed me to keep going. And
did he stop working for what he was doing, or was he working and he's like you're saying, the backbone of it, just in case it doesn't work out?
Well, when I first started, he's always been my backbone, but he's always worked. He's a police officer for LAPD.
Okay. Oh shit.
So he's always oh shit.
Okay, be careful around here. Careful with the questions I ask.
No, so he's always worked.
Okay.
So I felt like because that line of duty is so busy, it was kind of like for him, like, okay, this will be good for her to stay busy. Like on the weekends from her corporate job, it'll give her something to do. Like, I'm going to support her and see where it goes. And he believed in me. And that's why I was able to invest really quickly. Because I know for like a lot of balloon businesses, it takes time. Like they gradually grow.
Yeah.
Like you start small, you make money and you reinvest. And then for me, I felt like I was really blessed because I invested there como quien dice un chingazo, you know, like he was like, let's do this. I'm going to help you. And then I'm going to help you.
But it was that belief though. I think that a lot of people can do the same thing.
Yeah.
And again, everyone has their lucks and everyone has, but I think that if everyone puts that determination and that faith and that belief, then I feel que también puede pasar eso. You know, you got over the fact that, okay, I'm going to not be shy and just post my work, even though if, you know, bonita, feo, whatever it is, like simple setup, more, crazy setup. No matter what I'm going to post. And I think that helped you to get to an influencer like Karen, where that kind of elevated your business to like another level. So I just feel that a lot of your success has to do with belief. I think in your case, it's just belief that you have in yourself.
And I get a lot of other balloon artists and balloon friends that are like, how do you do it? Like, how do you start? Like, I need advice. Like, how did you land an influencer? How do you, because I've worked with like so far influencers, I've worked with Karen and Johnny. I mean, I've met Annette69 through you know, like, I've even worked with Zoraida. I know she's been on your podcast. I've worked with Luda and Ashley. I've worked with a lot of influencers, and they ask me all the time. Like the main questions is always like, "Oh, did they pay you? How did you get them?" Like, And then that's when I'm like, no, like, yeah, believe it or not, they pay. If they like your work, they're going to pay you.
Yeah.
And that's where it's always like, tienen ese pensamiento
Yeah.
de los influencers are like, oh, she probably did it for free or they wanted it for free, you know?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
But it's all just like believing in yourself and going for it. And like I said, the exposure that you invest in is what's going to help you land other influencers.
Yeah,
You know?
I've always told everyone, like, I can get you an influencer and I can recommend you, but if your work does not speak what they're looking for, it doesn't matter how many influencers look at your page. Like your page is your portfolio, and if whatever you have there is not going to attract them and it's not going to convince them, you know what? It doesn't matter if it's free. I can guarantee you that no influencer is going to hire someone for free just because it's for free. I mean, if it's a great page and they're willing to trade and they're willing to collaborate, then of course they're going to do it. But they also want their influencers. Their main pages are themselves and selling and promoting themselves. So they're not going to just get whatever company. So again.
Yeah, they bring a lot of value. And I feel like a lot of people ¿cómo se dice? Like misconception that. Like, I feel like for me, that's the advice I give my friends or other balloon artists who ask me. I'm like, hey, continue to post your work. Continue to, have faith in yourself. No matter what, post. Everything is content. Like, you are your biggest promoter. Like, you have to try to take the best pictures, best video. Like, try to do the best you can. And trust me, you will land someone sooner or later. Yeah.
So working with influencers like myself, I've had my great experiences. But then also there's times where, I don't know, I feel like as a vendor, sometimes we feel unappreciated. We sometimes do a lot of things that maybe they're not aware of. We maybe sometimes do more than what we're supposed to do in a sense, and that's to promote our business. But at the same time, we sometimes are a fan of some of the influencers, and we're like, you know what? This would be better. we're going to do this extra, even though like they already requested, let's just say a certain package. We try to go above and beyond for them because we want to aprovechar la opportunity, but at the same time, we want to create that relationship. And I mean, the question that I have for you is like, one, do you feel sometimes unappreciated from influencers that you work with? And have you ever had any like bad experiences that you can talk about?
Yeah, unfortunately, just like I've had my good experiences, I have had bad experiences as well. And I think like the problem with that experience was that I didn't speak directly to the influencer. It was more like a third party. So I felt like if I would have spoken directly to the influencer, I would have probably had the outcome that I was expecting, that I had agreed on. Because I didn't feel like I was unappreciative, especially because we get excited. We want to work with them. We want to try to go above and beyond and provide the best. And then when you don't get like, the same energy back, it kind of like, it's disappointing.
Yeah.
What
about for people that are starting out? What would be something that you, like an advice for them that are starting, that perhaps they want to reach out to influencers, but they have no idea what they might run into?
Yeah, honestly, just for them to reach out directly. Like, don't be scared. I know that possibly influencers get, bombarded with a lot of messages, but you just never know. You just never know when it'll happen that they'll read that message and they happen to need a service and you get that opportunity. I advise everyone to take it. Go for it. It's going to be an investment that eventually in the long run you will get a good return.
Yeah. Inspiration. Where do you find your inspiration? Where do you find the creativity? Like, do you watch film? Do you look up, Pinterest? Like, what do you use to kind of give you that creativity?
I feel like what helps my creativity is I have an app where what helps me, and it helps me stay organized, is I sketch whatever's on my mind on the app. So what I present to clients is like, I'll do a sketch of what I want to do in a way, or like, hey, this is what I can do. This is what it would look like, and I feel like once you show them like that sketch, it like brings the vision to life and it gives them an idea of what they're going to get, what they're getting for their money's worth. And I feel like that's what helps, for me, that's what seals a deal, a lot of the times, because I'm able to show them what I can do and, they love it. 90% of the time they're like, oh my God, let's do it. I love it. And that's what helps me put all my ideas into one.
Yeah.
And like the possibilities are endless. There's so many different designs and styles. And, I have a lot of inventory, and a lot of the times when I have certain ideas that of something I want to do, if I don't have it, I will reach out to another balloon vendor and I'll rent it. Like it's not necessary that you have to have, all the inventory. Sometimes helping and supporting other fellow balloon companies and
Yeah.
balloon artists helps too.
You know what's cool that you say that right now is that you don't have that ego. A lot of
Yeah.
businesses have egos. A lot of businesses like, oh no, this is my influencer. I don't want to share them because they might go with you, and they're afraid of that possibility happening.
Yeah.
I've always said like there's times where I can't do a certain event for an influencer, and I'll send someone that is really good,
Yeah.
but that's because I want to make sure that I care for that influencer. I care for that. Let's just say even if it wasn't an influencer, just for that client, I want to make sure that I send someone that's 100% gonna turn in the right amount of the right work and the right quality. So
Yeah.
it's cool that you say that you have no ego in terms of like looking and reaching out to people. When I first started my photography career, I started reaching out to people. I started reaching out to photographers and showing them my work, like, hey, what do you recommend? And a lot of times they would turn me down, and a lot of times they wouldn't message me, or they would leave me on scene. So now when people message me and they'll ask me like, hey, can you check out my work? What do you think I need to work on? I reply to them because I don't want them to feel that same feeling that I felt when I reached out, So it's super cool that you're willing to reach out to other colleagues. But have you ever also gotten backlash from that in terms of that your colleagues or people that are in the same industry?
Yeah, I feel like when I first started, I experienced that a lot. I experienced very much like, you're new when you start. You don't know where to buy backdrops, props, or like certain neon signs, like certain stuff. And sometimes I would reach out to people and they just wouldn't share. Like I feel like at first when, I feel like with me, it also had to do like, I feel like certain, balloon companies didn't expect me to grow so quickly and didn't expect me to I guess be good in the field. And they would try to keep information from me if I would reach out and ask, like, and that's when I kind of started noticing like, okay, like, like it sucks, but I'm gonna have to do research on my own. And I'm gonna have to start reaching out to people, because I started noticing that a lot of people wouldn't share information. See, for me nowadays, if somebody asks me like, hey, where can I buy this, or where can I buy this prop from, or a neon sign prop, I'll give them the information, because I know what it's like. I've been there when nobody wanted to share anything, and they didn't want to disclose their vendors because possibly they think the balloon industry is so saturated that they don't want more to provide information for other people to start off,
and grow.
And another thing about me is I give balloon classes. I give one-on-one classes. I've taught already a couple girls. I think I've already taught more than 10 girls where I've given them a one-on-one balloon class. And I have disclosed, for me, it's not just, I'm going to teach you how to blow up balloons, how I do my garlands, and that's it. You're on your own. I always try to help them. When they take a class with me, I try to set them up, so they can actually start running a business. Like from learning how to do the balloons, how I do it, what I use, my techniques. I will disclose like at least 4 or 5 vendors. Like, this is where you could buy the good quality balloons. This is a vendor that I go to for this. This is a vendor that I go to for that. Crazy. And like, I kind of help them, like start off. It's not just like, oh, you're going to take a class with me. You're going to learn how to do balloons, and then you're on your own. Yeah. Like and then a lot of the girls too, like that take a class with me, they will check in with me like, a couple months later, and they'll be like, oh my God, look at my progress. They'll send me pictures of their progress, and they will, thank me because I helped them start. And, it makes me happy, because I'm like, that's awesome, because there's room for everyone. There's work for everyone to grow. And I've always been all about like, if I can help and empower other women and encourage, then I'm all for it. I've never been the type of person that's like, no, I'm not going to tell anybody. I'm not going to share anything with anybody. It's just me, and that's it. Like, I've never been like that.
Talking about motivation, I feel that right now because we've already have this experience in business and we're slowly growing. Oh, not slowly for you, but we're growing gradually. We are more confident in our work, right? For someone that's starting out, there's sometimes where we try to motivate someone where we see like, hey, you know what? You can do this. It's not that complicated. I mean, it is difficult in terms of mindset and being strong mentally, but it really isn't that difficult to open up an Instagram page and like you're saying, apply and take a course or a class and start your business. What is it that you think that's so hard for people to pull that trigger?
I just feel like, see, like for me at the beginning, like when I was like, okay, because when I was doing the balloons and I was on my corporate job, it started like getting really busy, and I felt like the balloon industry was like my balloon job was starting to like overpower the corporate. Like I started turning down events during the week because I was stuck from my 8 to 5 during the week. If I had an event on the weekend, I was like stuck during the week. I couldn't go to the balloon store and find a color that I needed, or I needed to go, go stock up on supplies and stuff like that. And sometimes a lot of like the big corporate companies that hire balloon artists, they need stuff during the week, Sometimes they do events or they do stuff for their companies, and I felt like I was losing a lot of business. So when I got to the point where I was like, okay, I'm making more money doing the balloons than at my job, I think I'm just going to go for it. But I was scared because I was like, what if the balloon industry dies? Like, what am I going to do? And it started affecting my health. Like I started experiencing a lot of stress. Like I remember, like I got to a point where like I had one of my eyes. I think I had one of my eyes that was starting to twitch a lot.
Oh, shit.
And I was like, okay, I've never had that. And everybody would tell me like, it's stress. You're going under a lot of stress. And so that's when I had to make the decision. Like, like it's crazy how stress like it
can affect your body.
It can affect your body, and it like there's certain things that it's like speaking to you, like you're stressing out like bad. And so that's when I had to make the decision, like I'm scared, but I'm gonna go for it. As soon as I went for it, I left the job, I dedicated myself to the balloon industry fully. It went away. Like the redness in my face started going away, my eyes stopped twitching, like I started seeing so many opportunities. I started seeing my business grow way more because I was available, and I was like full on in, And I was like, wow, this is crazy. Like how my body was speaking to me. And then as soon as I made that decision, like everything fell into place. The stress went away and everything.
Let's talk about sacrifice. When we have a business, of course it's fun, and of course we have that freeness of clocking in whenever we want and going to sleep whenever we want. Like we can manage our own schedule. But with that comes a lot of things that sometimes we don't plan for. With that comes a lot of sacrifices that we have to make. What are some of the sacrifices that you've had to make in your business?
For me, definitely, it's like I went from an 8 to 5 to a 24/7.
Yes, exactly.
Like, it's not easy. Like I thought working for myself would be like, oh, I wake up when I want to. I do things when I want to. It's like, no, I'm like nonstop. A lot of the times, like there's been many occasions where I can't really do things on the weekend because my business relies on events on the weekend. So, during the week, you're prepping, you're painting, you're getting balloons, inventory, you're picking up like props or whatever you need for the weekend. Friday, you're loading your cargo van, you're making sure that you have everything for all the events, pre-inflating balloons if you have to pre-inflate. Saturday, wake up freaking early, go do events all day. I'm like doing events all day. I finish en la tarde, and then on Monday, you have to go pick it. Like just how everything goes out, everything must come back. So it's like a nonstop. Like Sunday, Mondays are pickup days. Sometimes when I'm really busy, it's Tuesdays, and then Wednesday have to start prepping again for the weekend. And it's gracias a Dios, it's like been nonstop for me. Gracias a Dios, I've had to work nonstop since I've started. Every single weekend, I've been blessed to have work.
And for your team, is it just you? How many people you have on your team right now?
It's just me and my little sister, Geraldine.
Oh, damn.
She is 16 years old. So she started working with me. If she's 16 now, I think she was like 14, 13.
Crazy.
When she started. Oh, and she hated it. She hated it at the beginning. But for me, it was really hard because at the beginning, it was hard to find someone because you would train somebody and then they would see the potential and then they were like, oh, I could do this.
Yeah.
Like, oh, they thought it was easy, and then they would be with you for like a week or two and then they would leave you. And it's like, for me, I didn't mind. Like, I did not mind, they want to pursue it, they want to go for it. But I felt like I had to start all over.
Yeah.
Find somebody else, train them, and then the same thing.
Yeah.
So I was like, you know what? I have to do something. Like, I know my husband wasn't going to stop his police career to support my balloon business.
Right.
So I was like, I'm going to have to hire my little sister. And she hated it at first. And I was like, come on, I'm going to pay you. Because even though she's my sister, she's never worked for free. I've always, shown her appreciation. I've always paid her. And I was like, I'm going to have my one employee. I'm going to pay her well so she can, like work with me, continue working with me. And she's been with me since the beginning. And at first she didn't like it, and now she loves it. I feel like she has matured so fast for her age. Like, I feel like working with me has taught her a lot. From like opening her own bank, bank account, and teaching her. Like, I'm always trying to like teach her and show her, like, look, I know they don't teach you this in school, but building your credit is good for you, making your own money so you don't depend on a guy in the future, like this is all good for you. And she loves it now. Now she's like, oh, I love working. Like, she's like always excited to work on the weekends, and she's really good now. Like, she's really good because she's been with me from the beginning. Like, she does things how I do it, basically, because she's learned. And at first she didn't like it, and now she loves it. Yeah.
Where do you see yourself in 5 years?
I see myself in 5 years, obviously growing more, but my ultimate goal is to be an event planner. Like, go more bigger in the industry, where it's not just doing balloon. It's like planning big events, like eventually owning my own tents, tables, chairs. Like, I recently invested in jumpers, and just like, dedicating myself more to like planning full events, because I feel like if I expand in that way, I'll be able to work less, but work bigger events that make me more money, so I don't have to work as much with the smaller events too.
Yeah. No, well, I think that's I mean, having a bigger goal and still achieving what you're doing right now it's super great. Especially, I feel that helps entrepreneurs as well, which is like, I tell my kids, I'm like, if you want a car, you do the math, if it's going to cost you $100,000, $200,000, then you have to really think about how much money you have to make a monthly or yearly in order for you to achieve that goal. So for you to say like, oh, I eventually want to be an event coordinator, and I'm already doing things that are going to get me there, it's like the right way to start thinking about, that type of goal, The last thing I wanted to ask you before we go, any advice for, I mean, women, I feel que son más, determined in terms of doing things, but I feel que también se desaniman when it comes down to like self-esteem, when it comes down to like feeling subconscious about certain things about them, guys, some pinches locos, so they don't give a shit. Pero I feel that a lot of girls get stopped because of the social media and because of what they see online, right? So what would be something that you can tell them that would get them out of that mindset, of feeling some sort type of way because they're discouraged because there's all these supermodels on Instagram and stuff?
I feel like for me, it has a lot to do with the people you hang around with, like the friends that you have around. It's really important to have friends that will make you feel good about yourself, that hype you up, that support you and give you that mentality of like, you could do this, like you're a bad bee, like don't feel discouraged. And I mean, it sucks, but there is a lot of girls out there that feel that they have to look a certain way to fit in the social media, like, to create content, do videos and it's stuff like that. And I just feel like it does. My advice is like, the people you hang out with is the people that you will, get that confidence from, and they will help you feel better about yourself, like, I feel like I've struggled with that. Like, I've always been more of like the shy kind. And, now that I'm in the kind of like balloon industry where I have to socialize and network and sometimes be in like videos or record myself doing reels and stuff like that. I feel like I started gaining more confidence too after I met Karen, because she's always been the type to be like, no, you got this. You could do this. Like, keep going. So I feel like it has a lot to do with the people you surround yourself with.
Yeah.
Like, I have a lot of other friends too that are very positive and they're very supportive and they're always like happy for me. They're always sending me positive messages, like, keep going, you're doing amazing. So I feel like it has a lot to do with that.
Yeah.
Like the people you surround yourself with. And not just because you have the pretty good looking friends, with the body standards that everybody expects, doesn't mean that you're any less, And like, for me, my friends never make me feel any less either, like, they don't hold themselves to a high standard, so obviously they don't
make you feel that way.
Make you feel like you have to be to a certain level, like.
Yeah.
And that's one thing that I appreciate, and that I've learned a lot, because as we know, Karen gets a lot of attention and she's beautiful and she helps me feel confident about myself and who I am. Like, you don't have to be a model looking girl to create content and to put yourself out there. Like, there's room for everyone. So, it's important. And I know sometimes it's hard to find genuine people, genuine friends that want good for you and success. And when you do find them, like, you just have to show appreciation back and, try to, ¿cómo se dice? Like, give the same positivity back and
same energy.
Hold on to the good-hearted friends.
Well, thank you for being here. Is there something you wanted to add? Huh? Is something you wanted to add? Okay.
She's crying. No. She's crying. Yeah.
Well, thank you for being here. I really appreciate this talk. I really would like to have you, because you talk a lot about business and you have a lot of gems that are going to help a lot of people. And honestly, I really do think you should start a course, because you do have a lot of information right now, even though it's a short span of your business. But I feel that you learn and you've grown so much that you have so many things that are going to help a lot of small business owners. So thank you so much for taking the time out of your day to be here.
Yeah, thank you for having me. Thank you for inviting me. I was telling Karen I would have never thought Adrian would have asked me. So
why not?
I feel honored, because you have like big people here. Like, you've had like celebrities here and all, and I'm like, oh my God.
No, you don't. You don't.
Oh,
you don't. And again, I want to make this clear, because that I do get that misconception too, that it's only people that are big. Like, no, I really want to invite also people that I appreciate, all the big influencers that come, because that helps me give shine light to small businesses and for them to get more exposure, right? So I do appreciate them, but I also want to help out small businesses, and I also want to help out people that have stories. There's a lot of people that necessarily don't have stories, and Influence Me is not about just an influencer or someone that already has millions or a business. Influence Me could be a person or a mom that's a home, just stay-at-home mom. It can be in construction, that it can be an elotero, just anyone that influences you. That's what this is all about. And
that's what's amazing about your podcast, that you do come across a lot of people who definitely you get influenced by, and it's a nice thing that you take everyone into consideration. You're really humble, Adrian. You're really humble. And from the beginning that I met you, I've always told Karen, I'm like, he's such an amazing person. And I'm like, we love him. He's so nice. And it's because you're really humble, you're really real, and you do not discriminate, like, no matter how big or small you are, and I appreciate that.
Oh, thank you so much. Thank you for your kind words too. Well, I appreciate you for being here. I'm going to leave her links down below. Make sure you guys go follow all her social media platforms. Make sure you guys go follow my platforms. Thank you guys for staying till the end. With that being said, we'll see you guys in the next episode.
Bye.